Rafael Andrade parked his BMW in the underground garage of Ciudad Jardín shopping mall and looked at his reflection in the rearview mirror. At 35 years old, he was the CEO of Andrade Solutions, one of Brazil's largest tech companies, with an annual revenue of $200 million. He wore a Rolex watch, an Armani suit, and drove imported cars. But that Saturday afternoon, something different was about to happen. He opened the trunk and changed clothes. He put on a faded t-shirt he'd bought at a thrift store, worn jeans with a hole in the knee, and beat-up sneakers that looked like they'd survived a decade. He stored the Rolex in the glove compartment and put on a cheap $50 digital watch. "Let's see who you really are," he murmured to himself, thinking of Camila Ferreira. They had met 3 weeks ago on a dating app. She was a lawyer, graduated from USP, working at a corporate law firm. The conversations flowed well. They talked about books, travel, life philosophy. She seemed different from the other women Raphael knew, intelligent, independent, with her own opinions. But there was one detail. Raphael hadn't revealed who he really was. On his profile, he simply put "work in IT" and used casual photos, without ostentation. He wanted to meet someone who was interested in him, not his money. Camila had suggested meeting at a modest cafe in the Pinheiros neighborhood. "I love that place. It's cozy and has the best brownies in the city," she said. Raphael promptly agreed. Now, dressed like an ordinary worker, he headed to the cafe. He arrived 5 minutes early. The place was small, decorated with hanging plants and rustic wooden tables. It smelled of fresh coffee and cheese bread. He chose a table in the corner, near the window. Camila arrived punctually at 3 in the afternoon. She was even more beautiful in person. Wavy brown hair, expressive green eyes, confident smile. She wore an elegant midi dress, a designer bag, and expensive shoes. "Raphael?" she asked, approaching. "Yes, you're more beautiful than in the photos," he said, standing up. She smiled, but Raphael noticed that her eyes quickly scanned his old clothes, the worn sneakers, the faded t-shirt. There was a micro-expression, almost imperceptible, but he caught it. Disappointment. "Thank you. You're also nice," she said, sitting down. They ordered. Raphael chose a simple espresso and a slice of carrot cake. Camila ordered a special cappuccino and the brownies she had praised so much. The conversation started well. They talked about the books they were reading, about a series they both watched, but Raphael noticed that something had changed. Camila checked her phone frequently, responded more briefly, seemed less engaged. "And you said you work in IT?" she asked, playing with her brownie without much interest. "That's right. Information technology." "I see. Must be interesting," she said in a tone that suggested exactly the opposite. "And you, how's work at the firm?"
"Oh, it's great. I just closed a big case for a very important client, a complex corporate merger," she responded, getting animated talking about herself. "You know, corporate law is really challenging. I deal with CEOs, company presidents. It's a very different environment." Raphael noticed the emphasis on very different, as if she were underlining the distance between her world and his. "Must be fascinating," he said calmly. "It is, honestly. I don't know if you'd be able to understand the complexity," she let out with a condescending little smile. Raphael swallowed the provocation. "Maybe not." Camilla's phone rang. She looked at the screen and her face lit up. "Sorry, I need to take this. It's work." She stepped away a few feet, and Raphael could hear fragments of the conversation. "Yes, Dr. Henrique, of course I can come to dinner tomorrow. At the Fasana Hotel restaurant? I'd love to. Yes, I'll be elegant, don't worry." When she returned, she was radiant. "Sorry, that was my boss. He invited me to an important dinner with international clients tomorrow." "That's great," Raphael said, keeping his expression neutral. "Yeah, right? It's the kind of opportunity that can change a career," she said, looking again at his clothes. "You know how it is. Networking, connections, these things matter a lot in the high-level corporate world." The message was clear. He didn't belong to that world. The conversation withered. Camilla started making excuses.
She looked at her watch, said she had commitments. 15 minutes later, she was already getting up. It was a pleasure meeting you, Raphael, but I think we have very different lifestyles. I have a very intense routine. I travel a lot for work. I frequent certain environments. I don't think it would work out. I understand, he said, observing her. Nothing personal, okay? You seem like a good person, but I'm looking for someone who's at the same professional level as me. Someone who can accompany me to events, business dinners. You understand. Perfectly. She grabbed her purse, left $20 on the table, to help with the bill. Bye, Raphael. Good luck in life. And she left, her heels clicking on the wooden floor. Raphael sat there looking out the window as she got into an Uber. He felt a mixture of disappointment and relief. Disappointment because he had enjoyed the online conversations and hoped she would be different. Relief because he discovered the truth before getting involved. He paid the bill, refusing the $20 she'd left, and left the cafe. On Sunday night, Raphael was at home in his 3,000-square-foot apartment on Paulista Avenue when he received a message from Camila. Camila, hi, Raphael. I was thinking, I was too quick to judge yesterday. How about we try again? He frowned. Why the sudden change? Raphael, what changed? Camila, nothing changed. I just thought I was unfair. Everyone deserves a second chance, right? There was something strange about that. Raphael was suspicious, but decided to play the game. Raphael, okay, where do you want to meet? Camila, how about the Terrazzo Italia restaurant? Friday night. Terrazzo Italia, one of the most expensive and exclusive restaurants in Sao Paulo. Raphael understood immediately. She wanted to test him, see if he had money to pay for a place like that. Raphael, perfect. I'll make the reservation. Camila, great. I'm excited. Raphael smiled ironically. Let's see how far this goes, he thought. On Friday, Raphael arrived at Terrazzo Italia dressed exactly as in the first meeting. Old t-shirt, worn jeans, beat-up sneakers. He had made the reservation using a different name so as not to raise suspicions. The maitrede received him with a barely disguised look of disdain. Do you have a reservation, sir? I do. Table for two. The maitrede checked the list, clearly hoping not to find the name. When he saw that the reservation existed, he forced a professional smile. This way, sir. Camila was already seated, beautiful in a tight black dress, gleaming jewelry, impeccable makeup. When she saw Raphael approaching in those clothes, her face contorted in an expression of horror that she tried to quickly disguise. Raphael! Hi, she said in a high-pitched voice. I didn't know it was casual. You didn't specify the dress code, he replied, sitting down. The surrounding tables had men in ties, elegant women, high-class couples, and there was Raphael, looking like he'd entered the wrong place. A woman at the next table nudged her friend and whispered, loud enough to be heard, "Look at that guy's clothes! How did he get in here?" Camila turned red. Raphael, maybe we should go somewhere else. Why? Isn't the food here good? It's not that. It's just... Look, I'll be honest. I thought you'd show up more presentable. Presentable how? You know, business attire, some effort. I don't want to seem superficial, but this is embarrassing. The waiter arrived with the menu. He looked at Raphael with the same disapproving expression as the others. Would you like a drink to start? A wine, Camila said quickly. A Chateau Margaux, 2015 vintage. The waiter noted it down and looked at Raphael expectantly. Water, he said simply. Camila rolled her eyes. When the waiter walked away, she leaned forward. Raphael, that wine costs $3,000 a bottle. Can you afford that? You ordered it, he replied calmly. I know, but look,
Maybe I was too ambitious suggesting this place. We can order simpler things. You can order whatever you want, Camila. She seemed relieved and ordered a sequence of expensive dishes: caviar appetizer, lamb main course, elaborate dessert. Raphael ordered a simple steak with potatoes. During dinner, Camila barely touched the food. She was visibly tense, looking around, noticing the disdainful looks that Raphael's clothes attracted. "You know what's funny?" she said suddenly. "I thought you were different online. You seemed more successful." "Successful how?" "I don't know. More ambitious, with more potential." "And now you think I don't have potential?" "That's not it. It's just, look, Raphael, I work hard. I sweated to get where I am, and I deserve someone who's at the same level. Someone who can give me the life I've built for myself." "I see. So it's about money?" "It's not just about money. It's about lifestyle, ambitions, life goals. I frequent certain circles, Raphael. I need someone who can keep up with me." "And you think I can't?" "Honestly, no. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I need to be realistic." At that moment, a commotion started at the restaurant entrance. People were standing up, waiters were running. The maitre d' was especially agitated. "What's happening?" Camila asked, turning around. A man in an impeccable suit entered, accompanied by security guards. It was Eduardo Pires, president of the São Paulo Commercial Association, a well-known figure in the corporate world. He stopped, looked around, and his eyes found Raphael. His face lit up. "Raphael! What a surprise!" Everyone in the restaurant turned to see. The president was walking directly towards their table. Camila looked confused from one to the other. Raphael stood up politely. "Eduardo, how are you?"
Great, great. I didn't know you frequented this place. I usually see you at those even more exclusive restaurants," Eduardo said, laughing. "By the way, we need to schedule that dinner we discussed at the last board meeting. We have to finalize the details of the partnership between our companies." Camila was pale. "Of course, Eduardo. My secretary will contact you on Monday." "Perfect. Oh, and congratulations again on that Forbes article, the 30 most influential CEOs in Brazil. You deserve it, man. Andrade Solutions is revolutionizing the market." "Thank you, Eduardo. Well, I won't interrupt your dinner. Pleasure seeing you, Raphael. If you need anything, call me." Eduardo walked away, and a heavy silence fell over the table. Camila was speechless. Her face had gone from white to red. "Raphael, are you Raphael Andrade, the CEO of Andrade Solutions?" "I am." But you said you worked in IT." "And I do. Information technology is exactly what my company does." "You deceived me." "No, Camila, I never lied. You just assumed things based on my appearance." People at the surrounding tables started whispering. Someone had heard the conversation and the news was spreading quickly. That man in worn clothes was one of the richest businessmen in the city. The maitre d' came running. "Mr. Andrade, I didn't recognize you. Please accept my apologies. Can I offer our best table with a privileged view?" "No need. This table is fine." The waiter, who had served them with disdain, returned, now extremely solicitous. "Mr. Andrade, it's an honor to have you here. May I offer our special wine list? We have some exceptional bottles that we reserve for VIP clients." "No, thank you. We've already ordered." Camila was in shock. "Raphael, I didn't know. If I had known—" "If you had known, you would have acted differently. That's exactly the point, Camila." "But you should have told me." "Why? So I could pretend to like you for my money? Like you're doing now?" She turned red. "It's not that. I really liked you from the beginning. It's just that... Look, I admit I was superficial, but can you blame me? We live in a world where appearances matter." "Appearances or essence?" both. Raphael, please, can we start over now that I know who you really are? But you already knew who I really was, Camila. I was always the same person. What changed was your interest after discovering my bank account. That's not fair, isn't it? You discarded me at the first meeting because I wore old clothes. You invited me to an expensive restaurant to test if I had money. And now you want to start over just because you discovered I'm rich. People around them were now watching unabashedly. Raphael, please, she whispered, aware that they were the center of attention. Don't make a scene. I'm not making any scene. I'm just being honest. Something you weren't with me. He stood up, took a black card from his pocket, and handed it to the waiter. You can charge everything to this card. Then he looked at Camila. Enjoy your dinner. It's paid for. And he left the restaurant under the gaze of everyone present. In the following days, the story spread. Someone had filmed part of the encounter and posted it on social media. It went viral. Billionaire CEO tests girlfriend by dressing like he's poor was the headline. The comments were divided. Some thought Raphael had been brilliant. Others said he had been cruel to Camila. But most agreed on one thing. She had revealed her true character by judging him by his appearance. Raphael received hundreds of messages, from women offering to go out with him, from men congratulating his strategy, from journalists wanting interviews. He ignored them all. 2 weeks later, Raphael was in a small bookstore in the Liberade neighborhood when he bumped into a woman. Sorry, she said, picking up the books that had fallen. It was my fault, he replied, helping her. She had curly hair tied in a messy ponytail, wore round glasses, a t-shirt with a kitten print, and regular jeans. No makeup, no ostentation. Do you like Dostoevsky? She asked, seeing the books he was carrying. Very much. I'm rereading Crime and Punishment. Me too. I've read it 3 times. It's my favorite book. They started talking about literature, about philosophy, about life. Her name was Helena. She was a literature teacher at a public school. She lived alone in a rented apartment, had a cat named Kafka, and loved cooking on weekends. She didn't ask what Raphael did for a living. She didn't care about the simple clothes he wore. She was genuinely interested in his ideas, his opinions, the person he was. When they said goodbye, she wrote her number on a crumpled piece of paper she pulled out of her bag. Call me if you want to talk more about Dostoevsky, or about anything, really. Raphael looked at the paper with the poorly written number and smiled. I will call, yes. And for the first time in weeks, he felt he had found something real. The moral of the story: a person's true character is revealed not in how they treat those who can offer them something, but in how they treat those who, apparently, have nothing to offer. Clothes can be changed, but essence remains. And in the end, it's the genuine connections, based on respect and mutual admiration, that really matter. Raphael didn't need to prove his worth through wealth. He needed to find someone who valued him without it. If this story made you reflect on the importance of looking beyond appearances and valuing character over material possessions, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Share with that person who needs to understand that someone's true value isn't in the clothes they wear, but in the person they are inside.